Somebody needs to burn the White House to the ground. Put the Ku Klux Klan, the neo Nazis, the Aryans, the Freemasons in the ground. Put the ones we keep alive in slavery. Force them to rebuild that shit and paint it black and brown. For all of us black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal people that was put in slavery on a global scale. Now how that sound? I think that sound profound. Now break that shit down and hold that shit down. They sit back and they say my ideas, a methodology, studying and researching the philosophy of slavery, the wickedness of the Ku Klux Klan, the neo Nazis, hypocritical bureaucracy, philosophies of the the Aryans, the neo Nazis that was founded with philosophy that came from Adolf Hitler, which is Nazi, but the fucked up part about it, the neo Nazis don't know shit because the fucking Adolf Hitler that they say they represent had a philosophy of trying to free the true Jews from slavery, but they did the opposite and want to oppress the same people that was black, Hispanic, Native, and Aboriginal people that was trying to get free from the Ashkenazi Jews in Nazi Germany. That's why Adolf Hitler was slaughtering the Ashkenazi Jews. The Ashkenazi Jews wanted to kill black, Hispanic, Native, Aboriginal people. He was slaughtering the Ashkenazi Jews because the Ashkenazi Jews had a philosophy of keeping me and you in slavery. So the Ashkenazi Jews were the ones that financed the slave trade. Fuck the part about it. The Ashkenazi Jews and the Vatican in fucking Rome, Italy, the Catholic Church was fucking wrong. The fuck the part about it. The philosophy, what you consider as the Ku Klux Klan, which started the Republican Party, Tea Party, Democratic Party, they put everyone in slavery because who voted for George Washington? The Ku Klux Klan. That's amazing to me that people don't understand the philosophies of the federal government. They're all lies and manipulations. People sit back and say, "Oh, I like taking selfies." Well, who invented the selfie? Well, last time I checked, the Ku Klux Klan had a philosophy of hanging black, Hispanic, Native Indigenous, Aboriginal people during slavery when they had us in reservations and threw us out of our nation and put us in enslavement in every geologic location in every nation, more plantations. And for the record, don't George Washington, his historical evidence lived in the plantation, and historically, didn't every single president of this stolen nation live in plantations? Wouldn't that mean America was based off enslavement? So all minorities on a global stream stay in a motherfucking philosophy of enslavement. So the wicked white regime of the Ku Klux Klan Nazis, Aryan, Freemasons, Ashkenazis, Vatican, Knights Templar, Freemasons financed the slave ship, and now they want to get us what's called radio frequency identification ship, a radio frequency identification ship to put us back in the enslavement shit, an implantation. If they gonna have a surgical removing of minds with technological devices to enslave humanity, that's the death of mankind. Talking about all of us minorities on a global stream. But wouldn't that mean the KKK, neo Nazis, Aryan supremacy groups, Freemasons, the Ashkenazis, the Vatican responsible for putting us in this position on a global situation? Ain't the reason why there was riots around the globe? Understand the situation? The federal government of America don't give a fuck about none of us. They enslaved us, hung us, raped us, kidnapped us, fed our babies to alligators, enslaved us, raped us, used us for biological experimentation, HIV, gonorrhea, syphilis, corona, Ebola, syphilis, Tuskegee Airmen, if you don't even get this, then on top of that shit, they decided to trick our sisters. This is what Planned Parenthood or eugenics, the Negro Project, for all of us. But y'all don't even get it. Why they even call it the Negro Project? Keep in mind, Christopher Columbus, when he came to this land of reserve that we ignorantly call America, he called us in every area, us black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous. Keep in mind, we have a genetic link to us, the, uh, as Australian Aboriginal. Well, essentially, he called all of us Negro. And people say, I thought Negro mean black. It's deeper than that. Argue facts, because even the Bible says this, to argue that. When I sit back and say that the fact of the matter is the word Negro, the root word of Negro, or the word Niger, as the Bible would say it though, the word Niger means, the root word is Nig, or God, or Elohim. So when that means black, Hispanic, Native, and Aboriginal people on the global stream is gods and goddesses, kings and queens, priests and priestesses, soldiers and soldieresses, for what it means, they don't understand. Okay, well let me think. Simeon should be called Niger, right? Ain't Simeon Puerto Rican? Ain't Puerto Rican black, Hispanic, indigenous, and in word indigenous means children of God? No facades. Then I gotta think about the book of Psalms 82 when it sit back and says that God judges the rest of the mighty, O ye gods. I've said, you as gods, all of you the children of the Most High, arise, O gods. Wouldn't that mean that's black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal people? Because instead of the fact of the matter, we're the only genetically linked people with the philosophies of Israel. But the Bible was speaking in Hebrew, true. But wouldn't it mean that when you think about the indigenous culture, that our ancestors spoke in Hebrew through the fact that it's known on a global fucking wide philosophy. Even the History Channel spoke about the fact that indigenous people spoke in Hebrew. The Bible was originally written in Hebrew. The King James Version of the Bible, the 1611, that's the year that King James authorized the translation from Hebrew to Latin and English. But people sit back and say, things are lost in translation. I don't get that shit. How things lost in translation? If I said, Anava Anava Aqua. Yo te amo Hamano. Yo te amo Amina. I love you, brother. I love you, sister. Shalom Elohim. Peace to the gods. But and it's black, Hispanic, Native, Aboriginal people on a global stream, all gods and goddesses, kings and queens, prophets and prophets, soldiers and soldiers. Is it this how to follow this? I'm trying to get people mind free from what the Ku Klux Klan, of Nazis, arrogant, supremacist, hate groups, Freemasons, Ashkenazis from Germany and the Vatican did to all our people in the global stream. Now I think about the fact that the pilgrims decided to oppress the people that was in this land. So wouldn't that mean that we POWs of a racial social injustice, formality, in every location around the globe in actuality? Because of the fact that they decided to say that it's a terrorist philosophy to say that our lives matter. Just for saying Black Lives Matter, that's terrorist, according to Donald Trump. Let's sit back and argue some major factors. If I sit back and say Black Lives Matter, Hispanic Lives Matter, Native Indigenous Lives Matter, Aboriginal Lives Matter, Asiatic Lives Matter, Aboriginal Lives Matter, Akibalon or African Lives Matter, Asiatic Lives Matter, Jamaican Lives Matter, Mesopotamian Lives Matter, Iraqi Lives Matter, Sumerian Lives Matter, Cuban Lives Matter, Mexico Lives Matter. Just say the globe of all ancestry of minorities whose ancestry was in slavery lives matter. But as far as the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, arrogant supremacist hate groups, Freemasons, Ashkenazis, and the Vatican, they put us all in slavery. Well, putting them slave masters, pagans in slavery, that shit does not fucking matter. Those are major factors.